We're gonna get this thing up on Facebook for a few people too. Yeah, let's give it another minute here. Ding dong. Mara, you look cold. Freezing or what? Hey, Jackie.
Well, back in Canada, it's freezing here.
Back in Canada. Those of us Canadians who've been hiding in Mexico are just softies now, babies.
Yeah.
I like to whine about it. Those of you who are not Canadian, what you'll realize is Canadians talk about a few things really consistently. One of which is how cold it is. Even when it's not cold, we're like, it's cold. It's just cold. It's always cold. So, okay. Okay, awesome. So I'm streaming this live to our Facebook page as well, so you can get access to it right afterwards. And there's a couple of reasons why we're doing that. We want to just make this accessible to as many people as possible. But beyond that, we also have realized that things are happening so fast that it might not be easy for everyone to discern where they can go for information. So if you have other wellness business owners that you know could benefit from these free webinars that we're doing, yo, Megan, you're welcome to share. Actually, we'd appreciate you to just share this out. Just pump it out through your channel. It's totally free. We have all the recordings as well that they'll get when they sign up. And we're doing 2 more next week as well, Tuesday and Thursday. So keep a heads up for that. Alternatively, I know a few of you guys have been on like almost every meeting. So we got Paola there. I see Tahoe Yoga, Angela, Easy. Those of you guys who've been on a few times, if you're like, hey, there's these questions that we're not getting to, or I have a new question or whatever else, send them to me, because it would be awesome to know what it is that you guys could maybe benefit from. Jenna, maybe you could jump on the chat if you don't mind and just help Paola with where she could maybe adjust her microphone or something there as well. Okay, so let me share my screen. We're going to jump right in. We got a special guest today. I see Audrey's on here finally. It's awesome. So I'm going to pass it over to you in a second, my friend. But to get the ball rolling, so the first thing is a couple of win stories. We had the story come in of a student who had like moved out of the country from one of the studios and decided that they, and they're actually like stranded, they can't move back, but decided that they wanted to support one of the local businesses. So they phoned them up and they said, I would like to purchase multiple of your virtual memberships to gift to people who can't afford virtual memberships. So I thought that was just a really cool thing. We're starting to get those sorts of stories as well. Humanity is good. At heart, we're good. So, you know, that sort of stuff is happening. But what we're talking about today specifically is social distancing, how to maintain your business. But more importantly, I wanted to focus a little bit, because we're getting a lot of feedback on this, how to maintain your sanity as well amidst all of this. And there's a few reasons for this. And I've got our specialized expert coming in, Audrey, in a second here. But it's really important, obviously, that you hold space for your community during this pandemic. It's something that we've been talking about. You've got to sort of be there for them, be the shining light, be the positive, be the news that's positive going on. But I'm just going to say this again as blunt as I can. You have got to take care of yourself as well. This is the same as when you run your business normally. It's just hyper amplified. I know you're running at 150%, a lot of you guys, but just keep in mind that, like, if you burn out, everything goes to, I'm not going to swear because we're streaming on Facebook, but if you burn out, everything falls apart as well. And the other thing is, and I'm not trying to be like the bearer of bad news, but I just want to make sure that we're being real about this, is this isn't like gonna end next week. There's a longer time frame we have to be prepared for. So you need steam and energy and the ability to keep going. I would say energetically, I'm not talking business-wise, energetically, you need to be maintaining yourself so that you can continue for like the next 6 months. Because I know I see a bunch of Canadians jumping on right now too. We always talk about the summertime. Like, by the time this is over and then there's the leg and then we're ramping back up, then summer's going to hit, which is organically the time when the business tends to slow down. So just, you have got to maintain yourself as well, which is exactly why we're bringing Audrey in. She is from Fortitude and Flow. She is a specialist in how to, this is a crash course on how to keep yourself healthy in challenging times. She's a specialist in mitigating and avoiding burnout, specifically in entrepreneurs. She's also a fellow yogi and teacher. So she knows her stuff, and she came into my private group yesterday and did like a more intense thing. So we're going to get her to jump in here. So Audrey, can you unmute yourself, and I'll see if it brings you to the front here as well. Maybe I'll stop my share.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Am I going anywhere different?
No, we got you. Perfect. So I'm throwing on speaker view, and then I'll shut up so that you can actually talk. So Audrey, just for kind of 10, 15 minutes this year, is going to give some practical tools for this. I don't have it in the slides, but if you guys are looking to contact Audrey after the fact, you can go to, you can email her at audrey@fortitudeandflow.com. She does have like specialized intensive meetings that she can do with you in private as well. So if you're like on the line right now, there are a few things that I'm just going to talk about that can help you. But one of the things that I think you've got to realize is it's okay to ask for help. You need to lean into the resources you have available to you. One of which are meetings like this. One of which is like my private coaching group, so that you've got a community to exist within. And the other is professionals who have quite legitimately devoted their lives to helping people succeed on this level, like Audrey. So just know you're not alone. You do have the resources available to you, and we want to make them available easily. So that being said, Audrey, I'll let you take it from here. Break it down for us.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to keep this as basic and as simple as possible, because I know it's really important to sort through all of the information, and there's a lot to sort through right now. So I'm going to give you a really brief explanation of the tools that I'm going to present and why they're important. So just like Josh mentioned earlier, this is a very this is an unusual time. This is not a new normal. This is a crisis management time. And so as you're approaching things and as you're trying to approach self-care right now, it feels harder, and that's normal. Feeling overwhelmed, feeling a little bit spacey, feeling a little bit disoriented, feeling like you're having a hard time concentrating, all of that stuff is completely normal. And I just want to give you like a little bit of an idea of what you're going through and why you're going through it. So in normal times, in times of non-stress, like just going through life, nothing crazy happening, you operate within this basic window of tolerance. So when you're operating here, and you can even think about this as kind of like your comfort zone. Things are normal, nothing is crazy, you're just sort of hanging out here. And if you get really excited about something, you will sort of amp up, your system will amp up. All right, and then when you're kind of feeling maybe a little bit down about something, your system will down regulate. So what happens in times of acute stress, which is kind of what we've gone into, and this may go into more of a chronic thing, which is more my specialty with the burnout situation, and I'll talk about that in a second, but your system will start to amp up, and it'll come through this window of tolerance into your fight or flight survival modes. And so that can look like an elevated heart rate, your pupils dilating, your temperature rising. It can mean feelings like frustration, anger, blame, fear, avoidance, like you're trying to get away from something, right? So your system is wired to keep you alive. Your system is always asking the question, is this going to kill me? Am I going to die? So it sounds very dramatic, but that's just physically how our bodies are wired. So there's nothing inherently wrong about that, right? It's actually, surviving is great. Like, we want to be alive, right? But the problem becomes when our system is living up here and there's not like an immediate threat that actually needs to be taken care of, and it stays up here. That's when we end up with chronic stress. And this is where burnout can start to happen, is when we're spending all our time up here and we're not actually down regulating back into our window. For some people, their survival response may take them down through the floor, which basically ends up looking like a freeze response. So that is when I shut down, when I want to take a nap all day long and I just can't get off the couch. I may feel confused, I may feel disoriented, I may not be able to make decisions. And either of these states, again, in a survival situation, have their place and their benefits, but over time is not going to help you, and you can't make decisions. You can't think. Your higher reasoning powers are taken offline, like literally taken offline when you're in that survival mode. So 2 things that I'm going to give you, and one is something that I want you to take really seriously and start practicing on a daily basis and like a regular basis, is grounding. So I'll give you 4 layers of grounding. And that's the whole point of this, is just to keep you oriented to what is happening right here, right now, so that you can, you know, pop your head up, look at the bigger picture, look at the future stuff for your business, and then also deal with what's exactly in front of you. So the first layer is a very basic orientation, which is when if you're really having like a crazy day and you don't know what's going on or where you are, what day is it? What's the date? What's your name? Like literally orient yourself to the smallest possible things to be like, okay, because we've had those moments, right? I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. And you feel a little bit like in a churn. Orient yourself to what time is it? What date is it? What's your name? These are very basic, but this is your starting point to be like, okay, I know where I am. And because I know where I am and I can think of these things, it's going to start to take your system down to safety, which is what you want to get yourself back into that window of tolerance. Your next level is orienting to your environment. So physically looking around. So actually turning your head to look around your environment. So looking behind you, like actually turning to look behind you, looking above you and looking below you, like turning your head really slowly. And one of the other good tricks is looking into the corners of the room. If you're in a physical room, if you actually look into the corners, like let your eyes scan the corners, because your brain is trying to figure out, is there a saber-toothed tiger in this room? And when you start to scan the corners and you start to see your surroundings and you realize, okay, everything's cool, everything's safe, your body is going to have a moment of like, okay, all right. You might actually feel that. You may feel like a level sort of starting to calm down. The next level is grounding with your physical body. So noticing that gravity has you anchored to a point, right? Gravity has you anchored either to your sits bones, gravity has you anchored to your feet, gravity has your clothes anchored to your skin. You can feel clothing on your skin, right? If you wiggle your fingers, if you wiggle your toes, you can feel your body starting to connect to this, because this is sometimes when we're in times of high stress, we can be trying to think ourselves calm, but it doesn't work. You can't think yourself calm when things are really stressful. So anchoring yourself in your physical body, you may feel that maybe you've got like a lot of energy going on. And I encourage you, when you start tapping into your physical body, to follow the urge that your body has. If your body feels like it wants to move and shake, follow that urge. Go with the moving and the shaking, because it's a way to help offset stress. Your body has physical responses that help you to move through stress loops, which are often running in our body until we release them. If you almost feel like you want to sort of curl in a bit, let your body do that. Sometimes you may feel like you want to sort of go from side to side. So follow those urges that your body feels like they're wanting to do. And if you're in a situation where you can't, at least acknowledge it. And then the other layer is starting to notice that you may be dealing with sensations that are running through your body, or even things that you're labeling as feelings, that it's important to name them, put a name on them, because it's going to help you to regain control. Like in all of this, we're trying to get you back into a position of control, right? You may not be able to control the world around you, but you can control the moment, and that's going to give your body another sense of safety and security. So starting to name, okay, I feel tension, or I feel tightness, I feel constriction, I feel openness. If you have a feeling you can name, I feel nervous, I feel scared, I feel strong, right? If you have a word that you can use, that you can speak out loud, or that you can even name in your own head to associate with what's happening in your body, that's going to help to get everything on the same page. So your mind and your body and your whole system are operating as a unit, as opposed to what we usually do, which is, hey, body, shut up, I can't deal with you right now. And your body will continue to run those stress loops in the background, because your body hasn't gotten the release that it needs to deal with the stress that is running through it, right? Stress is physical, it's not in your brain, it's in your body. So those are like the really most important things. And then one thing that I just want to say, which I think is really helpful And I recommend doing this like before you go to bed at night. Maybe you can do it. I do it during the day too. But it's something called the constructive rest position. And so what this is it helps to work on the psoas, which is that big, huge muscle in your body that's connecting the legs and the spine, the pelvis and the spine. And it, the psoas can hold your survival responses. It can get really tight and it can continue to run those survival responses in the background. So if you lie on your back with your knees bent up and your feet flat on the floor, some people may find that it's more comfortable to rest their knees together. I've found that keeping my knees separated works for me, because I'll explain in a moment. If you lie in this position for maybe 5 to 10 minutes and just let your body be held and allow gravity to work on you and notice your breathing and notice your physicalness, it will start to help release those tight muscles. And what actually happens with me, because I've trained my body through this, is my whole body will actually shake. Like, I don't have to think about it. It will actually automatically release those stress responses through shaking and trembling, which is how our body naturally helps to rid us of these situations that get stuck in our body. So that's something else that I really recommend doing, because that's going to also help you to get a better night's sleep, which is going to help you to deal with your next day even better. So I know I just threw a lot of information at you, but I wanted to make sure that I got, I got all the stuff that you might need and that you can ask questions. And so hopefully I know I just kind of fire hosed you with a lot of stuff, but kind of take some of that, let it settle in. And if there's something that speaks to you immediately, like, use that, right? Whatever is going to be the tool that works is going to be the tool to use.
Yeah, I think the big point here is that this is not a time when you should do nothing. Just the same in your business, is this is not a time to do nothing. We're getting a lot of reports of people who are just like, we become frozen. We're like, this is so outside of my box, I don't know. So I'm frozen. I take no action in my business. And then that's also kind of what you end up doing personally. You're like, I don't know what to do. So we kind of just shut down, or we get frozen. So it doesn't matter if you are taking action in terms of like towards your business or any other like major monumental thing. Is for your own self-care. You have to realize that that's happening and then empowering yourself to move out of it. So I've got 2 questions as a follow-up to this. And then if you're welcome to stick on it, hopefully at the end, we'll have some Q&A and people can ask some questions as well. But one is the idea of the like weighted blanket, because you're saying about like the gravity element, or even just putting heavy blankets on at night. Does that help for this, I guess, because that question came up. And there's all those people selling the blankets that have like copper lining in them or whatever, that are like super
they're
heavy.
Like filled with rocks and they're just soft on the outside. Yeah. So think about that, right? Like, one of the things that help us to feel good is like being held, right? Like being that feeling of being held, that feeling of being comforted. It's comforting.
Yeah.
Anything that can help you feel comforted right now. I was interacting with somebody on Instagram, and it's so sad. And he was saying, I wept this morning because I don't know when the next time that I'm going to get a hug is, because he's by himself and he doesn't have that's real. That is so real. Like, we are social creatures, and a lot of us feel comforted by touch. So yeah, heavy blankets, soft clothing, anything tactile, anything that helps your system feel better, go for it. Like 100% full permission. Go, cover yourself in weighted blankets, get hugs, all those sort of things.
Yeah. And then the second one was this concept of the subconscious mind and like sort of the holding on that happens in our physical body and our subconscious body. What about at nighttime? Like, obviously doing things like doing a meditation, doing pranayama breath work, stuff like that's going to be beneficial. But what about the idea of listening, like putting your headphones in and listening to meditation when you're like leaving consciousness? That's been a huge conversation in the entrepreneurial world for a while in terms of how to like hack your brain. Is that the kind of thing that could be helpful here too? Or is that just...
Can you, so I guess, can you just clarify that a little bit more? So basically, like, is listening to a guided meditation helpful? Was that the question?
Well, I mean, I think listening to a guided meditation during the day is fine, but there's this concept, and the reason I'm bringing it up is someone actually asked, because it's kind of being re-promoted again, that you should be listening to something that's either meditative or something that's like educational or something that's entrepreneurial. Like, from like the 90s, those cassette tapes you put in are like,
Oh,
you're
okay.
powerful. But if you listen to that when you're going to sleep, it like infiltrates your subconscious mind and retrains you. Do you have any thoughts on that? Is that something we should be doing right now?
Now I got it. Now I got it. Yeah. Right. Like, the sort of affirmations or something like that. My take on a lot of these things is, if it works for you, go crazy. Like, go crazy. If it doesn't work for you, there's nothing wrong with you. I feel like that's kind of what the message is, because I feel like can be some judgment around, well, I tried this thing and it didn't work, there's something wrong with me. No, everybody's nervous systems are different and everybody functions differently. If people fall asleep to, SVU, but then they also want to listen to a meditation, and it's like, yeah, our subconscious is taking all sorts of stuff all the time. So if that works for you, do it. That's basically what it comes to with all of this information is try it out, throw it away if it does nothing for you. And if it does work, then keep it. Like, figure out what tools are the things that are going to help you out.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, Audrey. Again, Audrey is Audrey at Fortitude and Flow. It's in the chat. You can reach out to her and ask about her programs and stuff if you're interested. But yeah, some really practical things for us to just consider and just to, help us realize how important this all is. So a couple of the things that sort of branch off of this, and we're going to have some Q&A at the end where you guys can ask questions to Audrey as well if you want. Top hacks to maintain your sanity. First off is consider delegation. So like, take some things off of your plate that you don't actually need to do yourself. I totally relate to this as well, that when you're in a moment of stress, what you try to do is handle everything. You micromanage every single thing. That happens normally in our business as a wellness entrepreneur. So right now is just a time when you might be hyperactive in that way. So first thing is consider some automations. BrandBot just yesterday released their new automation setup so if you're using BrandBot for your email marketing and stuff, where you can put links to things like Zoom, Google Hangouts, or any other streaming platform in there and build flow automations that will automate the communication for you. So it's a small beneficial step, but it's just going to let you spend like a couple hours one day, build all your automations for the next 2 weeks on how to tell people where they get the link for something. FitGrid created their automation where through FitGrid, you connect your mind-body account with your Zoom account so that when someone signs up in mind-body, FitGrid will automatically send them the Zoom link. So if you're using Zoom for live streaming, FitGrid might be a good option. They also have a 30-day free trial, so you could use it for this month and then maybe you don't need it anymore and drop it. Although there's some other features of FitGrid that are really epic for a business, so take a look at them. MindBody's video integration is in beta literally right now. It started 2 days ago. I'm actually missing half of the meeting right now that they asked me to come on for how they should, launch and price things. But I would anticipate at the very latest, it will be fully launched on Monday. So if you're using MindBody online, there's going to be a new tab that says video, and you're going to be able to have video on demand / I think live stream as well. I think it's going to do both. I'm still not 100% sure, but that could be huge for just automations to take things off of your plate that are seemingly simple, but some things that you have to do, if you do it once or once a day, it might not be the end of the world. You start doing it twice a day, every day, all the time, and now it becomes a task that burns you out and you don't even realize it. All right. Alternative sources of income. So let's change gears here a little bit. Alternative sources of income are something that we want to start considering. Hang on a second. Is there one more here? Oh yeah. I'm going to go back to that because I think it's just a little bit out of order. So the first thing here is what other tasks can you delegate to your staff right now? So we've had the question coming in like, I want to keep paying my staff, but I don't have they can't come to my studio anymore because we're in total lockdown or whatever. What can you do? Well, what skills do your staff have? Is there something you can delegate right now? For example, like if you don't love social media, it would make it easy for you to be like, I don't love being on social media and there's too much noise about COVID-19 stuff. So I'm just going to drop my social media presence right now. That would be a mistake, in my opinion, from a brand standpoint. So do you have a staff who does love social media? Give them control of your accounts, talk to them about the strategy for what they're going to do, and then get them implementing on it. Delegate that off to somebody else. Another great idea that one of our coaches came up with is if you need to give your staff a task, and this sort of ties in with social media, get your staff to film 10 1-minute long videos. So just short videos that are like a quick posture tutorial or a quick how-to or a one breathing technique or whatever. Short, really tight. And for every 10 of them that they give you, you would pay them X, maybe the equivalent of a yoga class, something like that. But if you have 5 staff that are still working with you right now, and they all gave you 10 1-minute videos, you've got 50 videos that you can now distribute on your social media. That's 1 or 2 a day for the next month plus. So you can batch a bunch of content that way. It's something that helps to alleviate the stress of like the feeling right now that we've got to perpetually be creating social media stuff or whatever else. So start to get smart about it that way. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about alternative income sources, because this has been coming up quite a bit as well. How do we, because I mean, the last week and a half, 2 weeks, it's felt like 5 months, I think, for most of us. That's the truth. So the last conversation, some of you are still at this point, the last conversation has been like, how do we just pivot and get online? Now we're starting to look at, okay, as we're coming to the end of the month where all the bills are coming out, as it's coming to the start of the month where the big bills might come out for people, and maybe they've lost their job just recently or whatever else, and they're going to start having to pay, they're going to start looking for what they can axe. So we might be one of the businesses on the chopping block for membership and stuff like that. We've talked a little bit in our previous meetings on how to mitigate that, but specifically, how do we then also amplify our cash flow? How do we get more fresh money coming in? Right now, for you to run ads and stuff and sell new memberships is probably going to be difficult. It probably won't have a high level of success. So I would first be leaning into, who do you have that you can leverage? It's your existing email list, your existing list in your MindBody or Mariana Tech or whatever account. Like that's where I would go first. But we've got to sell them something else. People want to support you, so give them some options. So there are 2 things. The first is retail. Huge win story on retail. A member of our group did, a couple people have done this, but one of our members had a retail sale virtually where they gave general discounts on their stock of retail. And if you picked it up, you got a bonus 5% discount instead of them shipping it to you or having to deliver it. And they sold like $1,200 net profit, that is, in retail in like 2 hours of time. So $1,200 is not going to make or break everything, but $1,000 is $1,000, my friends. And your retail is literally sitting on the floor right now as tied up cash flow. So if you have retail, now might be a time to move it. The other detail here that's, I think, equally, if not more important, is that when you do something like this, you're gamifying what it is that your studio is doing, which makes you more interesting and fun to participate with. So don't do this from like a scarcity, I need money standpoint. Do this from a, hey, what the heck else are we doing? Social isolation, quarantine, we're in lockdown, whatever else. Let's do some online shopping. So, but make that online shopping be you. So there are 2 things I would suggest for how you could do this. The first thing is just straight up go live on your Facebook, on your YouTube, on your Instagram, on whatever you got, you can go live on for like an hour. Email everyone ahead of time, like give them like a day or a couple days notice. Tell them there's going to be a special retail sale thing going on. Go live, hold up pieces of clothing and be like, okay, all of our retail is X% off. If you purchase it, we can charge your account, or you can Venmo me or PayPal me for this. And we'll either ship it to you and it'll take time to get there. We'll hold it at the studio for you to pick up later. Or if you're in an area where people can still travel, we'll put it in a box, wipe it down with a Clorox wipe, put your name on it, leave it outside our front door, watch it so that no porch pirates get it, and let you come and grab it. So, because yes, you got to watch out for the porch pirates even now. That's still true. So that would be a simple way to do it. And you just make it a game so that people can interact. They can comment, oh yeah, I want this. If you want to take it to the next level, if you're like a little more advanced, you feel comfortable with this kind of concept, one of the thoughts that a couple people are like kind of starting to act on is if you, and especially if we had a couple studios that said like, shit, I'm coming into like when I was going to do a big yoga challenge and stuff. So I bought a bunch of retail. So I've got like $8,000 in purchased retail sitting here. I have a huge bulk of it and now I can't move it. The timing was just poor, but so let's move it quickly. Instead of selling the retail and just doing a discount, do it like an auction. So you know your price, your cost per retail part, that's the starting auction offer. And then literally like let it auction up. And some things are going to sell at close to full price. Some things are going to be $10 over margin. It doesn't matter. It's just to untie the cash flow that's tied up in the retail. So that's just another idea there. The second total methodology, and I don't have the chat open, you guys, so maybe I see a couple of them coming there. I'll try to just check it afterwards in a second. The second methodology here would be to find a way for you to quickly pivot to drop shipping. And I know I see immediately people are like, what, drop shipping? Like, I don't want to set this all up. Jenna, maybe you could post the name in the chat, but if you go to the company, We Are Yoga, it's Will Jones who owns it. They have a thing called We Are Yoga Team Shops. I negotiated with them yesterday because they've repackaged themselves and reiterated their team on what exactly their offer is. They charge you $99 per month, and they will completely set up a custom brand team shop for you through drop shipping that can even get integrated onto your own website so that people can buy stuff from you right now and you don't touch anything and you hold no inventory at all for $99 a month. It's like totally insane in my mind. And it includes the design. So they do 3 designs for you. You send them your logo. This hat, this is from those guys. I sent them my logo. I'm like, I like flat brim hats. It's all I wear. Make me flat brim hats. And they made a bunch of flat brim hats for me, and they're in our online store. If you go to joshbeer.com, go to the drop-down menu, go to Marketplace, and then Swag. You'll see exactly what this looks like. You can go on there and you can buy a shirt. You can buy this shirt that I'm wearing right now that says Nomad. You can buy a hat like this, whatever. So you can have the same thing for your store. The turnaround on this is that they get the whole thing set up for you. Currently, as of last night when I talked to Will, they can have the whole thing set up and running for you in like less than a week. So you can then have this sort of fun gamified drop shipping thing where you don't have to touch it. And I'm pretty sure they have a special deal where if you join right now, he owns a yoga studio too, so he gets it. If you join right now, they will additionally give you a $99 credit. So your first month is basically free. You pay $99 and you get $99 credit, and it's all set up to go. So another alternative thing that could be great for you to be able to have some alternative income sources. Okay, so the other thing that's coming up, let me just check our chat here because I think we have a few things. Does We Are Yoga work in Canada? Yes, it does, Allison. The thing that's tricky is shipping right now, because depending on the product that's offered, so they'll make you like custom leggings. And we have the link in there in the description for you guys. Tell them you're from the Yogapreneur Collective or that you heard about us on here. We get no kickback from it. We're not an affiliate in any way. It's nothing like that. It's just, I think they'll give you the VIP treatment as well. Does this make sense for a non-yoga biz? 100% yes, it does. It's literally just brand content, firebrand. So hats, shirts, whatever, anything that like your people would purchase from you, you could make a fun design for. Your supporters might want to support right now. So it just makes it easy for you. So 100% yes, there are lots of non-yoga brands that do this as well. But yeah, for shipping into places like Canada, if shipping is shut down, it depends on the specific product. So if a product is being shipped from California right now, for example, in the drop shipping, it's totally locked down, so it's not going to ship. The worst case scenario here is they still pay today. They're still going to get the product. It's just not going to arrive for like 6 weeks. So if you just but the other thing is, do they need the product to arrive tomorrow like normal? Probably not in this case. So you could still go with it. I think for a lot of stuff, it's still going to work. Does the team shop work for the UK? I know that they had a big negotiation thing going on in the UK. I think yes, CJ, I think yes. I would just get on the horn with Will. Like the owner will literally get on the phone with you right now. So send them a message. Yo, we're in the UK. Does this work? I think yes. I think the only place, unfortunately, that it doesn't work is Australia. I think you guys are too far away. For some reason, people will not ship across the pond and all the way to the bottom. So yeah. Okay. So back to where we're at here, content creation. huge opportunity. So we've been getting the questions suddenly for people who are like, okay, I've transitioned. I've got some live streaming classes. Like things are kind of balancing out a little bit. How do I get more people coming in, or what's the bigger play, or what do I need to do? So you guys have heard me been talking about this, but like, I'm just going to keep saying it over and over. If you're on these calls, hear me so friggin' clearly right now. The unique potential advantage of the time right now is a massive marketing play around giving good content to establish your brand authority in your local area. If it's me, I'm putting content out as a local yoga studio like every day for free. I'm not saying make all your classes for free. That's not the same thing. What I'm saying is people are online, people are looking for stuff that's interesting. Engage your local community. There are a large percentage of wellness businesses that are literally just closed right now. They're like, peace, we'll see you in 3 weeks. Hopefully we're still alive. They are non-existent in the minds of your local consumers. So if everyone's going one way, first rule of marketing, be different early and often. If everyone's going this way, go this way. So the other detail with content creation is that you can spend time creating content right now because we have this void in time. For example, a recorded class, a posture tutorial, a cooking class, like a PDF download, any content that is not specific to the time. So it's something that you create, you could give to your members so that they feel happy now. But if you record like a shortened 30-minute rainy day class or something, just don't say COVID-19, don't say anything about what's specifically going on. It's still equally as valuable in a year from now. So that's the content that I would also be making sure that you and your team are building right now, because let's be real, for most of us, for most of you guys, finding the time to carve out time to create content like that normally is not so easy to do because we have a lot of other things going on, even though it's fundamentally important. We have a weird void in time where you probably have a good hour, 2-hour gap during the day where you could quickly film something, quickly put it together. It's going to benefit you now. It's going to benefit you in the future. So I think there's a huge content play that is potentially here. And just remember that on the back end of this, when we come out of this, it's not just instantly over. And if you have even an inkling of a thought, or I've heard a couple people say this, and it's just, I just think it's totally untrue. You are never at this point going to go back to how you were before. That's the worst way to view this ever. This is fundamentally a paradigm shift in this entire industry and how you're going to operate. You will not be the same studio after as you were before. So you could start prepping on that a little bit right now is what I would say. Okay. Remember, mitigate your larger recurring expenses, but you still need to run your business. So I've had a lot of expense stuff. The reason this content creation and all this stuff that we're talking about is so important is to realize that your business has to keep operating. Now, maybe people are going to disagree with me on this, but I'm just going to be harsh on the point as I can. Just shutting down and giving up right now is a terrible idea. I don't care if you've got $1 billion in the bank and you just don't need the money right now. You are going to be completely obsolete on the back end of this. That's what I would be scared of. Now, none of you on this call, I think, have done that. I'm just saying, do something. So you are going to have some budget of dollars on some basic like automations or delegating things to staff or things that can help you maintain your business and maintain your sanity over the long term. So just get real about it, because the people who are kind of holding their breath are the ones who believe that this is going to just blow over and be done in 2 to 3 weeks. It's not. Even if it is, it's not, because there's going to be more time afterwards that we have to deal with. So all I'm saying here is large recurring expenses, 100% mitigate it. But your general viewpoint now moving forward, in my mind, has to start to shift a little bit towards, okay, what is my, not new normal, what is my current situation in my current budget and my current expenditures so that I continue to have my business be a powerful entity and authority in my market? That's what we need to be calculating on. So it's, if we're just looking at, I want to cut all these expenses, that's coming from scarcity and fear, which is really easy to fall into right now. No one's saying that we're not all feeling that in some way. What I'm suggesting is, the best business decisions are made from a clear head and coming from love and abundance. Yoga 101 right there. Okay. A couple of other things. Community connection. It's something that Audrey talks about often too. It's good to have, I think Audrey used the word yesterday in our meeting, your social, I can't remember what it is. You can pipe in and tell me what it is. But in any case, it's good. We are communal beings. So you don't have to become besties, even if you're an introvert and like talk to people all day, every day. But what I'm suggesting is it's good to have a community that's working on something similar to you. So for example, Audrey has her group of stuff. You have your initial group. But what I'm talking about is you as the wellness entrepreneur here, you as the owner, you as the pinnacle piece at the top, you want to have a community that you can lean into as well. Because right now you are holding everything for your community. So you can't lean into it personally. You might need to find another community as well. So if you've got one, lean into it. And then for those of you who are in the Yogapreneur Collective, that's our community. Our Facebook page is blowing up right now. We've got our webinars and our coaching and stuff going on as well. So for those of you who haven't heard, this isn't a sales pitch, but if you run a yoga studio or wellness business and you're looking for a community and you're lost, just go to joshbiro.com. You can have a free strategy session. We'll tell you about the Yogapreneur Collective. It's only $125 a month to be part of it. Just know that it's an option for you as well. Okay. Last thing on community. Be careful of, I've seen a lot of this. We're getting people that are contacting me. I jumped on a quick call the other day. They're asking questions based on other things they're hearing in their communities, but their communities are some like random Facebook page that's for free. I'm not saying that everything there is bad. What I'm saying is certain communities have no filter or control. So all of the recommendations in them might not be intelligent or relevant. So just be intelligent about your community. Audrey and I were saying yesterday that there's that thought that you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Surround yourself with people that are going to be positively supportive for you right now. Obviously, not physically, other than your family, but idealistically, that's what we're going to look for. Okay, a couple of quick things. So we do have some new webinar dates. Tuesday, the 31st at 11 a.m. Central Time. Thursday, the 2nd, 11 a.m. Central Time. In the first one, we're going to be talking about increasing your new students, pricing for current students, upsells and downsells. So we're going to deep dive into the pricing stuff, up and down, what do we need to do a little bit more. We've talked about it a lot, but I just wanted to have a whole meeting where that's our primary focus as well. So I'll be prepping everything that we're learning in real time about what's working there for that. On the second one, we're going to talk about online marketing and preparing for the future, because you got to start prepping for when you reopen. And right now we're talking about content creation and everything else. What's some online marketing strategies that you could be employing right now that are, you know, cheap maybe and not hugely costly, but hugely beneficial for you as well. If you want to sign up, if you haven't, just joshbiro.com, dealing with COVID-19, you can get all the recordings of last week's webinars, this week's webinars, access to the forward webinars. If you've already signed up, you should get the notifications for that, but that's where you can find it. And then final thing, this is actually because a couple of people asked, if you've been enjoying these and you really feel like this has been beneficial for you, I would love it if you'd leave me a Google review. Straight up. If you have not been enjoying these and you think that these are not worth your time sitting on, please send me an email so that we can talk and I can improve what it is that we're doing instead. So, all right, I'm just going to post that Google review link into the chat for you guys right here, and you can grab that. But I want to change gears. We've made sure we've got about 15 minutes left here. I'm going to go into Q&A. So I'm going to put us back onto our tile view here. Any question, anything at all, you just want to run your mouth, shoot, unmute yourself, do it, or post it in there, and we're going to cover it right now. Home Hot Yoga, is this a good time to hit up your members for Google reviews? Oh, that's a good question. Maybe. What I would say is, from a review standpoint, reviews function the best both algorithmically and psychologically for people when they have the appearance of being really organic. So the thing about reviews right now is that people are less motivated to take hyper action towards just giving reviews than maybe we were in the past. So it's appropriate to ask for reviews at appropriate moments. What I would probably suggest you do is focus on making the feeling for your members be as awesome as possible during this time. And then as we start to come out of this, just say like, for the people who come to you and say like, hey, I really appreciate how we did this and this was great and you handled it well. That's when you say like, thank you so much and we really appreciate you. If you feel like it's appropriate, why don't you just go leave us a Google review? We'd really appreciate it. So I would just kind of be prepped for that. I would say it makes more sense. Hang on, Jenna has something to add.
No, there's also a good question from Kay about the new mind-body integration and what's going on with BrandBot. Does that make the FitGrid integration obsolete?
Right.
Just with the automations.
Right.
Do you need all of them?
Okay, perfect.
Simplest, whatever.
Okay, so the question that Kay asked as well, such a perfect question. With the new mind-body integration, if you're using MindBody Online, does that mean that the FitGrid integration is obsolete, and or the BrandBot, and what do we do with all of that? Yeah, we're at a time where quite literally everyone is pivoting at the same time. So it's going to become like, what's your flavor? You know, I can't honestly give you a really straight answer on this because I don't know exactly how the mind-body integration works yet. I just don't know. So it might just mean that MindBody has massively simplified this entire thing for everybody that uses it, and that would be really cool. What I would say is path of least resistance, but really consider the customer experience. I think still here is a big element to this. So yeah, and as soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know. I'll be in the group doing a demo on it as fast as possible as well. What I would say is path of least resistance for you, for your own stress, but also consider the experience that you're offering your clients. So just like we would talk about in your studio normally, when I physically arrive to the studio, what's the flow that I go through? You know, what's said to me? When am I sold something? How am I shown around? Like all of those details give me the yoga experience that you're offering. Online, it's the same thing. So literally every click that happens, how I receive an email, what it says, how easy is it for me to sign up? I want to make that experience as streamlined as possible, as positive and on brand as possible. So sometimes the decision is going to come down to, we can do it 17 ways. This is the way that makes my brand friggin' look awesome and is super easy for my clients. So my participation level is the highest. That's probably a good way. Yeah. Second thing is then cost as well for this. So second question, maybe for the next call, wondering best way to package and price classes for non-members. Also, is there an ideal number of classes to offer online? Yeah, great questions. Would definitely hit this right now. I'm sure we're going to keep talking about this a lot. My recommendation for number of classes, and this, let me just preface this by saying it depends on your personal capacity right now. If you're like at super high stress level and you got to take care of yourself, don't try to run 5 classes a day online. It's just not necessary. Run 1. So anything is better than nothing. Okay. So just be real about it for yourself. It's okay to be that honest. But ideally, I would suggest that you're trying to hit at least 1 of each version of class, each style of class that you offer per day, assuming that's previously what happened. So the example here is if every day, I know at Megan's studio, every day you could take an original hot yoga class, you can take a flow class, you might take an IHP class. So if those existed daily for people, then it makes sense that we would try to make them exist daily. We don't need to run multiples of them because you're going to record them. And if I miss the start time, I can do it later. So that would be like a good peg point. On the other hand, if you have like a yin class and you only ever offered a yin class once a week, you don't need to run it every single day. You could, but you don't need to. So you might run it once or twice a week instead. So I would say once a day per style is a good peg point to look at. And also whatever percentage of your total schedule a class currently appeared on, same percentage now. The caveat to this that I want to bring up again is we're at an interesting time. If you're a studio that's running a 90-minute class and a 75-minute class, right? Like these longer lengths, even 60 minutes, for a lot of people, they're not going to sit through a 90-minute yoga class online, or it's more difficult. Maybe they are, but it's more difficult for them to do it. So just think outside your box. It's totally cool for you to offer a class that's like 30 minutes long, 45 minutes long, the 30 minutes sweat and stretch. So just think outside the box. The other outside of the box thing that ties into your schedule. So my point would be you might have 3 classes a day plus 3 times a week. You have like a little quickie class, the noon quickie, something like that. The other outside of the box thing is how are people living right now in your area? And can you offer them something that amplifies the positivity in their life based on how they're living now? So I'm living in quarantine in a house with a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old doing homeschool and a pregnant wife and talking to you guys all day. So for me, a really great time for a really super chill, get me meditative yoga class, like a random nidra or something like that, is at like 8 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, think outside the box. What's culturally happening for you? And then also at 8 o'clock at night, I'm tired. I don't want to do a hardcore workout right then necessarily. So maybe there's like a more meditative thing you could offer even on occasion. So just for class schedule and offerings, just think a little outside of the box for this. Second, for pricing, there are a few ways to play this. What I would suggest is the yoga world might be the worst place for you to look to discern what a good pricing possibility is for your virtual studio right now, because no one in the yoga world has been doing this very well. So I would be looking way outside of that. Go look at, like, how do you pay for your Squarespace site every year? How do you buy an online membership to something that's like an entrepreneurial learning center or something like that? I would go look at that stuff more. So for pricing, you might actually move towards, you don't have to like pull the Band-Aid off and do this. You might move towards a model that is ultra simplified. I'm of the opinion that right now, this consumer like psychological viewpoint of what's happening with pricing is you're either in or you're out. You're probably not thinking, okay, I'm in, but I want 5 versus a month versus whatever else. That's not happening. I'm either in or I'm out. So probably you moving towards a model that's an in or out model makes sense. So you're going to say virtual membership is X per week or X per month. Are you in or out? And when you're in, you get full access to 100% of everything, recordings, lives, all of it. And if you don't want that, you're out and you don't get access to any of it. It also hyper simplifies for you operationally what you need to control. Now, the key to that is the actual specific price point. So as I'm saying this, you might not do this like today, but start to plan for it so that if this goes on too long, that's where you're going to transition to, is this sort of in or out model. To directly answer your question though, Datrine, what I would say is if you have non-members, the mistake that I'm seeing is offering a low price virtual drop-in. Because just like it was before, if I buy a drop-in, I have no future participation obligation. It devalues other things. So I would probably try to have something alternative from that. So if it's a non-member, and one of the smartest things you could do would be to go into your system in BrandBot or in MindBody or in whatever you got, go into your system and find all of the people who do not have a current membership since now from the dawn of time at your studio, because why not? Email all those people and hit them up with a really easy offer. So that might be something like, hey, we've got these virtual classes. If you're getting this email, we can let you do our virtual intro 30 days for $30, or it's $10 a week or something like that. And they just, or jump on our virtual membership at $40 per month. So it's not even an intro. It's like right away, they're just going straight to that in or out membership. Why not? We are getting reports of that being quite successful for some studios, especially if the wording's there. And let me get like really hyper specific on something here too. If you're going to send this email out, just consider right now that everyone's inbox is blowing up and there's news and like there's so much noise going on. It will not work for you that successfully if you send one email. Right? You have to have more going on. So I would send at least 3 emails in this situation. And consider that depending on the email sending service you use, but if we're using BrandBot, Constant Contact, MailChimp, any of the big ones that are what we're normally using as a yoga studio, you have the ability to resend an email that has not been opened after a certain amount of time. So maybe you send this email and then you put the automation in that says, if this hasn't been opened within 48 hours, resend it again and just change the subject line. The other thing that you could consider is you can send an email and then you can say, if somebody opened this email or not, but they didn't click in the email, resend send another email to them, because it means you saw it, you opened it, you read it, you didn't take action because you never clicked, right? So open rate's one thing, but click-through rate's another. Why not follow up with the second one there? Change the wording a little bit. People don't, this is general sales stuff. This isn't even specific to our time, my friends. People don't make a purchasing decision on the first offer. It's very seldom that happens, all of us inclusive. You need to see something multiple times for you to process it and go through it. The way we're processing things right now is totally different. So I would just suggest that you want to be a little bit thorough in the follow-up. Not annoying, not spammy, obviously, but let's be honest, at this point in time, I would rather risk someone unsubscribing and I not waste my time with them and then get some sales than be like, I don't want people to unsubscribe from my email list. You know what I'm saying? So I would play that game. When should we be looking to move to an all virtual model, like in a month, for example? If so, maybe mid-April. How should we gauge depending on how long we guess the lockdown will last? Yeah, so I think this is from Thrive. I think you guys, the moment that you would switch to sort of an all virtual pricing model depends on your specific situation as a studio. It depends on what's your burn rate, what's it costing you for operation right now, how fast are you going to run out of money? What's your savings? Not your personal savings. Hear me clearly. Not your personal savings. Your business savings, your business rainy day fund. How many months have you got based on your burn rate? If you got 6 months of business savings and a burn rate that's low right now, you can extend that switch for a pretty long time. And then also, what's your starting point? We have members in my group as a single location that have 500 and 600 autopay members. So if you're starting at that level and you're losing 4 a day, you got a long time before you're going to cross the line where you've gotten so low in monthly memberships that you need to pivot to hold on to people. You know what I'm saying? But if you are a newer studio or you haven't built up your recurring revenue model to that level and you have like 40 members, if you lose 20, you're kind of messed. So you might switch a lot sooner towards that all virtual model to hopefully keep more people engaged and paying. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really hard thing to say. Yes, it has to do with the time frame of things. It also has to do with these other parameters. And then the final factor is how strong is your actual community, right? So if your community is really strong and you're one of those places that has members that have been with you for 10 years and they're like, I don't care what's going on, I'm sticking with you through thick or thin right to the end, and you have enough of those people, they're going to be happy to keep paying you at a normal price. So the other food for thought here is, even when you switch towards my virtual price offer, always give your existing members the option to stay where they are if they want to. You will definitely have some people that are still working from home, still making money, or are financially set, and they just want to support you, and they're going to happily pay you for a membership to support. So let them be the hero. That's all I'm saying. Okay, cool. Oh, when do we get the Zoom recordings? Yeah, I think Jenna just put in there. It's on my YouTube channel, joshbrio.com. You can go and find the playlist. It's also on our website, and it has additional download resources for each of these on our website as well. And you should get a follow-up email for that too. Now we had,
Question from Megan.
oh, yep, from Megan. Okay. Jenna says, get the question from Megan. Let me scroll back up and find it here. Oh, I know a lot of people are using Zoom for live group classes. I'm looking at building out an online platform hosted by an external company. That's because you wrote it like that. Thoughts on this? Where can we live stream classes as well as have pre-recorded classes? You know, how to, posture breakdowns, etc. Is it worth doing? My intention is to keep going after this as a revenue stream. Yeah, Megan, you're making a perfect point. There's two things happening. There's the, like, I've band-aided some stuff together to survive right now and to keep my members engaged stuff, which is positive. Then there's the, this is going to continue. So people are being pretty accepting of, like, it's on Zoom, the sound quality is not that great, it looks kind of funky, it's not as good as we could do. They're pretty accepting of that right now. I don't know if they're going to be as accepting in 3 weeks from now. Do you know what I'm saying? So it does make sense to continue to increase the quality of your offering for right now. It also makes sense that, like we were saying, anything that you produce right now that's of decent quality is going to be equally as valuable in a year from now. So if you've got it within your means financially and energetically, personally, I would definitely move towards that. So things that you could look at, the simplest way to look at this is don't let the technological side stop you from taking action, right? Get a good camera, make sure the lighting is okay, that the shot is okay, that the sound is good. Film it, have the MP4 file, figure out the technical side afterwards. Because right now you might just like upload that to a private Facebook group for people. In a year from now, you might build out a customized video on demand system. You don't need to go sign up and build a customized video on demand system for your website today though, right? Like you can, but you might not need to. So all I'm saying is there's sort of an in-between step that you might consider. Just start creating the content, distribute it however you can right now. And then it depends on, to get more deep on your question, live streaming classes is one thing, but in terms of like nested classes, a password locked page on your website with videos from Vimeo embedded on there works pretty darn well. So that's a great starting point. The other thing with Vimeo is they have the OTT. So look up Vimeo OTT, go read through that whole thing. Vimeo is making a major play to take over a certain niche market in video online stuff. OTT is going to allow you to build an on streaming and on demand sort of platform through Vimeo connected to your stuff. So it's totally possible to do it there too. All right, have to sign off. My son has a virtual class. Love it. CJ's off to the next meeting. Thanks, you guys. Yep. Is there a reason not to upload videos directly to our website? Yeah, that's a good question. That's come up a few times. The primary reason to not upload a video directly to your website is that it's taking up bandwidth on your website. So it'll technically slow down your website. And at this point, if you were to upload one 60-minute yoga class per day to your website, it's going to start getting really slow, which is super bad actually for your search engine optimization. One of the things that I think is not talked about in SEO is how often, I'm going to get to it, Tahoe. I didn't miss it. I promise. One of the things that we don't talk about in like Google and stuff is that they're judging your ping speed. How fast does a page load? And it's not only just consumers will bounce if it takes too long, it's actually being judged by Google in terms of how to prioritize your site. So that would be the primary reason for that. Any suggestions for massage memberships other than freezing until reopening? Yeah, that one is tricky. So one of the things that I would say for certain product memberships is you might give them the opportunity to be the hero again, right? So if they want to support. So one of the things you could do would be, hey, I know you have this massage membership. Clearly you can't come in and get your massage. If you would like to, you can keep it going and we will bank these for you. So you don't lose anything. And a certain percentage of them will just do that. So you're going to get the cash now, you're going to owe them later, but that might not be the end of the world. The therapist might even be happy with that. The other alternative, other than that, is to figure out, can they convert to something else? Can their membership, you have to figure out how to change the value proposition. With massage specifically, it's the same with chiropractic right now. We have some chiropractors reaching out. Like, it's hard because the whole business model is the human to human touch. There's no way to digitize it completely. So it's tough. What I would do for massage though, regardless, is look at this as the marketing play. So if all of your memberships even go frozen right now, I wouldn't be like, they're frozen, we don't need to talk about massage therapy at all. Quite the reverse. I would be talking about massage therapy all the time so that when you unfreeze these memberships, all of your people are like, I want a massage every day, you know, like they're just pumped on it, and you're going to get more people wanting to do massage therapy with you. So it would be a good time to leverage that specifically. Awesome, you guys. Any questions for Audrey? I know we kept you on here to the end. We didn't quite get something specific for that. I think everyone just appreciates what you're doing, Audrey. So thank you so much again for coming on. Next Tuesday, next Thursday, we'll see you there again. Same bat time, same bat channel. If you want to leave a review, I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, much love. Stay strong. Keep saving the world because you guys are definitely doing it. Peace.